Somewhere in the highlands of Papua New Guinea, a child catches a cold, and their immune system fights back using instructions written by a human species that vanished tens of thousands of years ago. That's not a metaphor. Their cells are running code inherited from the Denisovans, an extinct cousin of ours that most people have never heard of. And new research shows that code is still switched on. On June 11th, 2026, a team at Yale published a study in the journal Science with a startling claim. Interbreeding with an extinct human species didn't just leave fossils in our DNA. It left living, working biology. Here's the story. So who are the Denisovans? Honestly, we barely know them, and that's what makes them extraordinary. They were an extinct branch of humanity, a sister group to the Neanderthals. We didn't even know they existed until 2010, when scientists pulled DNA from a single finger bone found in Denisova Cave, in the mountains of Siberia. It had belonged to a girl who lived there long ago. To this day, the entire physical record of the Denisovans is almost nothing. That finger bone, a handful of teeth, a piece of jaw. Everything else we know from genetics. They are, in a real sense, a people reconstructed almost entirely from code, a ghost lineage we read instead of dig up. Here's how their DNA reached the Pacific. As modern humans spread out of Africa, they didn't travel through an empty world. They met other kinds of humans, and sometimes had children with them. The ancestors of today's Near-Oceanians, the people of New Guinea, the Bismarck Archipelago, and the Solomon Islands, interbred with Denisovans not once, but with at least 3 distinct Denisovan lineages across tens of thousands of years. Then something unusual happened. After reaching the region at least 45,000 years ago, these communities stayed relatively isolated, behind walls of ocean and mountain. That isolation acted like a preservative. Today, Near-Oceanians carry more archaic pre-modern human DNA per person than any other population alive. And the numbers are striking. The team sequenced the full genomes of 177 people across 12 Near-Oceania populations, comparing them with more than 1,000 genomes from around the world. In present-day Melanesians, Denisovan ancestry makes up roughly 4 to 6% of the genome, the highest known anywhere. And among the Sepik people of New Guinea, the effect is staggering. They carry about 25 times more Denisovan DNA than people in East Asia. Where most of us have a faint trace, they carry a real inheritance. But carrying ancient DNA is one thing. The bigger question is whether any of it still does anything. To find out, the researchers used a technique called a massively parallel reporter assay. Think of it as testing thousands of genetic switches at once. They inserted thousands of these inherited DNA fragments into living cells and watched which ones turned nearby genes up or down. The result, more than 3,000 to 100 archaic gene expression variants, are still functionally active today, and they're not scattered at random. Many cluster in the immune system, especially the interferon pathways, a frontline defense your body uses to fight off viruses and bacteria. Denisovan DNA, it turns out, is helping run the immune systems of living people. For the scientists, this is the payoff. Pathogens, as first author Patrick Reilly notes, were among the strongest forces shaping human evolution, and these inherited genes appear to have strengthened ancient humans' defenses against the local viruses and bacteria they faced. As study leader Serena Tucci puts it, this DNA is not just a remnant of ancient liaisons. It continues to influence our biology today. That's what makes this among the clearest evidence yet that mating with an extinct species left functional, still operating biology inside us, not inert genetic leftovers. So, to pull it together, the Denisovans were an extinct human relative, known mostly from DNA. As our ancestors spread across the world, they interbred with them, repeatedly. In the isolated populations of Near-Oceania, that inheritance was preserved, and scientists can now show it's still switched on, tuning the immune system tens of thousands of years later. Ancient interbreeding didn't just happen to us. Part of it is still working inside us. There's a humbling footnote here. Tucci warns that Oceanian populations remain drastically underrepresented in genetic research, a gap that limits what we understand about all of human evolution and could even widen health disparities. The more places we look, it seems, the more of our hidden history we find. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.